compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on January the 9th, 2015, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 and on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement made a part of this meeting. I would ask all to rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mayor Plumbo?
Here.
All members are present.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from December 15th, both the regular and closed session meetings?
Motion to approve.
Second. Is there any corrections, deletions, omissions that anyone's aware of? Hearing none. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Abstain.
Abstain. Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried with 4 in favor and 1 abstention.
Okay, before we move into the report of the governing bodies, tonight is a very unique night. We're going to give a presentation to Mr. Bill Brown, someone that I have known for many years. In fact, served on the planning board with him for many years. But my service to the township pales compared to what he has brought to this the township. Mr. Brown has dedicated over 50 years of public service to the township. He has served as mayor, he served on the planning board, he served on a lot of other boards and committees. He currently is serving on the Pinelands Commission. That kind of dedication is very rare these days, that someone would dedicate 50 years of their public service. And so tonight it's fitting that we honor Mr. Brown, Bill Brown, for his long and distinguished record of service to the Township of Upper. And so I'd like to read this resolution, and I'd ask Bill to come up and certainly give a round of applause for him as we do that. So, whereas William Brown has had a long and distinguished career as a public servant, serving on the Upper Township Committee, the Cape May County Tax Board, the New Jersey Pinelands Commission, the Jersey Cape Diagnostic Board, the Board of Trustees for the Woodbine Developmental Center, and the Upper Township Planning Board. Whereas during his tenure on the Planning Board, Bill has played an essential role in guiding the township through many phases of growth and development, and he is deeply respected for his commitment to this community and its residents. Whereas after more than 50 years of public service, Bill has decided to retire from his position on the Upper Township Planning Board, and it is fitting and proper that we honor Bill for his generous contribution of time, knowledge, and expertise to our community. Now therefore be it resolved that this Township Committee, on behalf of all the citizens of the Township of Upper, extend to our friend William J. Brown our heartfelt thanks and gratitude for his dedicated service to Upper Township, and to extend to him our very best wishes on his retirement and on all his future endeavors. So Bill, would you come up, please? Come on up here.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
So if these walls could talk, I mean, actually you weren't even at this building. Obviously you were at the old municipal building. So, you know, we've always been dealing with a lot of issues, not to mention, you know, the pipeline and a lot of other things, beach replenishments. What were some of the big things that you dealt with as mayor?
Well, the big thing was to try and get enough money from the state and the county to keep the roads going. That seemed to be always the most important thing back then. And of course, our budget was minuscule compared to where it's now. The Township Committee consisted of 3 people. Mr. Corson, his grandson, who served on this board for a period of time, and trying to think of the other fellow, he's from Petersburg, Dave Van Horst. And I didn't quite finish 3 years because I was on the tax board at the time, and somebody decided that I shouldn't be on both. And since
Trying out those taxes, right? So you can pay for those roads.
Since then, the Township Committee paid $500, and if you were the chairman, you weren't the mayor then. That mayor didn't come up until, well, the last year I was on, I think. But got $500, and if you were mayor, you got $1,000. Big money back then. And of course, until we really started to get the money from the electric plant, it was always a very crucial thing to get the budget through and determine what the tax rate was going to be, and everybody was very interested in that, of course, at that time.
Well, we certainly are honored to have you here this evening, and I'm sure a lot of your friends and family are here because they know the dedication that you've given to this township. So, you know, it's not often that we have an opportunity to congratulate someone like yourself, and it's an honor to have you here. So.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the honor that you gave me.
And you know what? We got to get you in the picture too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your service. It's nice.
Sure, absolutely. Don't go nowhere, Bill. Hold on. We've got other kudos here. Rita, bring him back with you.
Okay.
Right.
You know, Mayor and committee, they don't make them like Bill Brown anymore. I'm Rita Fulginiti, County Clerk, and I've had the privilege my whole working life of knowing Bill Brown. He was on the Board of Taxation when I came to work in the county in 1985, and I've been there for 30 years, and we sit together at the Woodbine Developmental Center. He imparts a lot of gems of wisdom to me, and I really appreciate that. Whole life of public service, it's unbelievable. But I have a gift for you, Bill. I know you don't need a plaque, but this is the symbol of the clerk's office. And I mean, we're 2 of us alike in a lot of ways in that we're, you know, workers and we write things down. This is a symbol of the clerk's office. It's a pen. William J. Brown, thank you for a lifetime of public service with the symbol of liberty, which in my mind, that's what your service has been about since the time you were a veteran to your whole working career, and your public service was creating a world and a county and a township where people's rights were respected and where people's liberty was important, and that's you, Bill Brown. So
Very
thank
nice.
you.
I've been important. At least on my desk.
Yeah,
That's
so
very
write
good.
something to me.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, I just have a few comments. My name is Stoddard Bixby. I was on the Township Committee for 9 years. All of us who really know Bill, we know Bill for being on the Tuckahoe Building and Loan, and for running that Tuckahoe Bank for many, many moves, and he did such a wonderful job. And Bill, without you, I don't know where we'd be.
Would anyone else like to say anything?
Yeah, I was
Sure. The only thing we need is for everybody to state their names. That's all.
Jerry Bailey. My son asked me last year, he said, Alan, how did you become friendly with Bill? And I said, well, I really can't remember that far back. But Bill and I used to go to Maine, Vermont, and New York State deer hunting, and once we brought back a deer and a bear. We took Neil Clark with us, he was county engineer. And I worked for the state with the highway department, and Bill was out at the Woodbine Developmental Center. And sorry if I tell this story, Bill. And Bill says, I have to go to Atlantic City to pick up some serum for one of the boys. You want to take a ride? And I said, well, my guys, they were cleaning out catch basins or something. So I said, yeah. So we get in this Jaguar, and we head down the road, and he gets down to the Woodbine Airport, he pulls in there. And I said, what are we doing in here? He said, oh. And he said, we're going to take my airplane. I started sweating the floor. I said, man, if anybody finds out I was the job. Everything worked out good. And then we went along to the Harbor Sports Car Club. And Bill had an MGT, the Atlantic Triumph. And every month we go up to Egg Harbor at the High Water Inn, and we had a meeting. And then we used to race around the Underwood Race. Speedway. And we went on rallies and everything. So it was I've known Bill for years, you know. And what Stoddard said about the bank, when I was building my house, the lumber yard said, if you can get 10% down on your lumber list, we won't have to pay the state sales tax. I didn't have any money. I spent all my money on
I see Carol has some statements in the back there.
On the excavation and the site, and they poured the footing in the block. So I called Bill and I said, Bill, I need $1,000 before July 1st. And he said, go to the bank tomorrow morning. And I walked in there and Doris, that was the old bank. Doris, I was slipping an envelope under the window, and she said, there you go. And, that's when they know somebody. They couldn't do that today.
Anyone else? Yes.
Ralph Clayton. I've known Bill since I got out of high school. In fact, his bank loaned me my first money, or my first tractor with, and I walked in there, and that, anybody remember the old Tucko Bank? They had a little small office there. Charlie Foster sat behind his old top desk and asked for money to buy a tractor, and he says, how are you going to pay it back? I said, I'll pay it back in 1 year. He said, well, aren't you going to work for your father? I said, no, my father wouldn't get a loan. And handed me a little slip. It said, I promise to pay the First National Bank of Tuckahoe $3,000 in 1 year. I signed it. They gave me my money, and that was it. Can you imagine doing that today? Can you imagine walking out of high school and sign your name, you walk out with money. But I've been in real estate a lot over the years, and like everybody else here, I've always admired Bill, found his integrity to be absolutely the tops. Everybody here will go out for that, I think. And he's just been a good person to know and be a friend of Bill. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello,
Harry.
Well, Bill's been a good friend for a long time, friend of the family, over 50 years. We talk about bank loans, non-performing loans, Bill loaning the money to the bank, had like a 0.1, everybody paid their loans. And the reason why I did that is because they knew everyone. They knew who they were lending their money to. I got my first mortgage from Bill, I remember, his son, kid, went to the bank, they would get the mortgage, $13,000, I think, for the first house. I told Mr. Brown, I said, don't worry, I'll pay the bank back. There's nothing to be worried about. He says, we don't worry about that. He says, you don't pay it. I know your parents. It worked out good. Like I say, those are good friends
That's the way it worked.
Well, you know what, Bill? It's been really nice that you've had family and friends here that can share some of the stories. I'm sure as anyone would travel through the township, there are many, many more stories that are associated with you and your goodwill towards the township. So you ought to be very proud of that, and so should your family and friends. So thank you again for all that you've done for us. And we don't want to see you go away, so we expect you to continue your service in one way or another. So
I appreciate honoring you this way. I had no expectation of this. And I'm 91 years old, still going strong, and go to the office every day. And I appreciated all the times that I've had here as committee man and as serving on the board with you. And it's been a real privilege to me. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If you folks have some other things to do, you're welcome to go. We thank you for coming. You're welcome to stay, but... Okay, so we will continue now, and let's go back to the reports from the governing body members. So Barbara, do you have anything for us?
I just have one item. I just want to report that the township offices will be closed next Monday, January 19th, for Martin Luther King Day. That's all I have.
Okay. Daniel?
Nothing at this time, but we do have a handful of contract negotiation matters and personnel matters for closed session.
Okay. Paul's not here this evening. He's on PTO. So Barbara, do you have anything for us?
Nothing this evening, no.
Okay. Mr. Coggins?
You've all received your initial budget workbook tonight, and with everybody's approval, I'd like to ask that we can have our first budget workshop meeting scheduled for 6:30 on the 26th, which would be our next committee meeting. One of the things I'd ask that everybody pay particular attention to are the line items in this year's budget where we've actually exceeded our budget guidelines. With that, what I propose to do with the Finance Committee is to pay a little bit more attention this year to getting information to the department heads that they are getting close to exceeding their budgetary guidelines, do it perhaps on a monthly or a quarterly basis, maybe be a little bit more stringent with that than we've done in the past. By doing this, it's going to hopefully eliminate the need for making these budget transfers at the end of the year. We are going to be making our final budget transfer, fortunately, this year. It's going to be within the road department. We're transferring some money from the salary line to the operating expense line.
Okay. I'm sorry. Because I was going to also say I have a potential conflict for that day, and that's okay to have like an hour workshop. But in the past, if you recall, we actually dedicate one night to a full workshop, meaning, we have like 2 or 3 hours at it. And
okay.
So I was going to suggest that's good to get started on that date, the 26th. But does anybody have a problem with having a 3-hour potential budget meeting on February 2nd? That's a Monday that we don't have a meeting, so that it gives us some time to really dive into what we're trying to look at. I'm just thinking how we've done in the past. We've actually done a long meeting and then have done our workshops. So I don't know that a couple, 1 or 2 or 3 meetings with 1 hour is going to be enough time.
No, I actually think that's a good idea. If everybody's willing, I'd rather take the longer period of time and go at it. I was just looking to get started as quickly as possible, but if everybody's willing for the 2nd of February, that'd be ideal.
Okay.
So no budget workshop on the 26th, but we'll do it on the 2nd?
On the 2nd.
Okay.
Now,
at
we can start
6:30?
at 6:30 if that works better for everybody, so that we can, you know, like, put 3 hours into it, not make it too late, rather than do 7:30, but that's up to everybody else. Right,
I'm good with 6:30, yeah.
Okay, so you'll advertise for that, please, February 2nd, 6:30? Okay, I'm
And I think
sorry.
as a committee, our emphasis as we go into 2015 should be on holding the various department heads accountable to really staying within their budget. So if we give them the tools to do that by giving them the guidance as to where they are year-to-date, month-to-date, so on and so forth, then the expectation would be that, you know, we're not going to have these line items that are exceeded. On another note, I was approached by the American Legion for a request to either rent or lease the old Township Hall. I don't know if that's something that we're capable of doing. I think it may be a good civic gesture on our part if we could allow them to do that. However, I don't know what's involved in getting back into that building. I don't know what condition the building's in. Toby, maybe you can weigh in on that.
I haven't been in that in about 10, 12 years, to be truthful, so I don't know what kind of.
Well, the last lease group that was in there was the railroad. And they actually, you know, I mean, they had made some changes in the building itself. But yeah, the biggest issue is that it's not handicap, it's not disabilities, American Disabilities compliant. There probably will be some issues, you know, with heating, but it's certainly a worthwhile thing to look at. I mean, if this is not the time to be selling the building, because I know we've had some conversations about that as well, then I'm certainly not opposed to allowing the American Legion to you know, use it for their meetings and, you know, activities or whatever they would like to do with it. So it's better than letting it just sit there.
Can I ask a question? Are they want to take over the entire operation of the building or just use it as a meeting place occasionally?
My understanding would be they would want to take over the operation of the building, so they would have it available to them for their meetings, luncheons, you know, whatever else they choose to do.
And this is a contract negotiation type issue. It may entail some give and take between, if the committee wants to move forward in investigating, between the representatives of Legion and the Township. And it might be appropriate that we flesh that out if you want to go forward and then bring it back and perhaps have a contract negotiation closed session discussion about, you know, the obligations and rights of the various parties that would go into such an agreement.
So with that, Dan, would my recommendation to them be to send a representative to a committee meeting to explain
No,
what
I
they...
think what would be better is if the committee designated, and I think it's Building and Grounds.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Hobie's
suggest.
department, perhaps they would reach out to Hobie, and Hobie and I would talk to them and whittle down what they're looking for, and then bring it back to the committee to
And
discuss.
also, I think I should get in the building and take a look at it and see what kind of shape we're really in.
Right, and you may need to take some code enforcement folks over to, and then Paul gets back.
I mean, in the past, you know, it's public record, we only charge $1 a year or something, you know, so, I mean, and that would certainly be something I would still be interested in doing. But I think what Dan's talking about is who does utilities and insurance.
That as well, and they would have to understand the nature of their obligations if they're taking over the whole site. To give you an example of where we do this, a similar type thing, there's a couple of different places where we do it. One that's easy to give an
Railroad
example
station with a start.
Well, railroad station, but that's not the whole facility. We still control some of that. The whole facility is the old animal shelter, Beacon Animal Shelter. And they have a long-term lease, and in nonprofit corporations we can do that with, but they have the obligations to maintain it and whatever. And the risk of various you know, occurrences that could happen is on the tenant, not on the landlord. But that would be something that we would, I think, explore with them to see what they're able to do, and then bring it back to the Township Committee.
All right, so my next move at this point would be to have this gentleman contact Hobie.
Yeah, who is it to contact?
Probably Dennis DeSalvo.
Okay. Yeah, just talk Dennis and get hold of me. And I guess we can get the keys from you for you get in that building.
We have the keys here.
All right. And I'll make them ready to go take a look at it
Obie,
and see if it's even feasible.
you might want to talk to Jay Potter too, from the safety committee side of the house. I remember we had some issues with that building and with the previous tenant, so he could help you on those matters.
It's an easy in and out. You just call Jay.
Yeah, take him down.
But yeah, we can look at it, and maybe it's something where they might be able to do a small lift outside it. We've done that before too, but on a private basis. Which is on the outside, it's a 3x3 square, it comes up, it's hydraulic, and then work it. There's ideas that they could have. I mean, I hate to say
Depends on how we structure the arrangement.
Right.
It might be entirely their responsibility, their liability, their obligation, they deal with it.
Yeah, just tell Dennis to go home.
And one final thing, I had a resident express a concern to me. And, I'm not sure if this is something that's going in front of the planning board or maybe about to go in front of the planning board, but allegedly there is a tattoo parlor moving into the Route 9 area, in our downtown area, in a vacant building there. And the concern that was expressed was, obviously this isn't the type of business that you would see in an upscale area, especially maybe not in the heart of our downtown. So I don't know if the planning board is aware of this, if this is something that would have to be approved by the planning or zoning board.
And Dan backed me up, tattoo parlors, my understanding are permitted uses in all the commercial buildings, it's retail sales of goods and services. So they're no different than any retail operation.
I haven't looked at it recently, but we have had tattoo parlors in the township previously, and under the ordinance at that time, it was a permitted use.
Yeah. So if it's a permitted use and it's not a change of use, they wouldn't require any approval from the planning board at all.
Plus, I think they have some sort of registration.
With
or-
the state now, they do.
Right.
Yes. And again, I mean, when we looked at these, it's like the two that we have in the township right now. It's no longer the old tattoo parlor image.
Oh, yeah, no,
Like
I
you're
think
saying it
the
outside.
concern more than anything wasn't the fact that we had a tattoo parlor. I think the concern was that it's in the heart of our business district.
The other two are, so I mean, we have one
ones-
right here on Route 50 and one in
Right.
Cedar Square. I know that there's a lot of case law on those types of items. And when the one opened up on Route 50, Moonlight, there's a lot of issues with that one. The run found that the case law kind of backed it up. It wasn't a change of use, it was a permitted use. And we went through the whole gamut on that one.
It would be really a determination initially by the zoning officer and code enforcement as to whether it has to go before board. But if it's a permitted use and it doesn't require a change of use, they're permitted to open up without going to board.
Okay.
The process would be that person has the right to file an appeal on the zoning official's findings on that. And
But I don't remember,
interpretation.
you probably remember better than I do, I don't remember it.
I mean, the first one that opened up was right across from the trade.
Right, yeah, we're down
That
a
was
little hollow there,
yeah,
which was,
yeah.
a good spot for it, kind of
And,
out of the way and not in the main.
But there was a lot of fear there too. And like I said, it's, the old image of what a tattoo parlor is, tattooed, so kind of, it's all done by appointment basis. Very little bit of walk-in. There's nobody hanging out front, that kind of stuff. So it's a whole different. About 65% of their clientele is women now, not men. So it's pretty interesting that that's what it is. Yeah. But permitted uses, there's nothing we can do about it.
Okay.
Unless you change the ordinance down in that downtown zone.
It would have to be a recommendation to have the planning board look into it, and then if you were thinking of reviewing the uses generally.
And my understanding is you would have to supply some area where they would be permitted, just like we have here.
I don't want to make that broad of a general statement at this point. You can differentiate, but there has to be a rational basis as to why you're doing it.
Yeah. Understandable, but the ones we had so far have been phenomenal support groups for animals. Beacon Animal Rescue, the one in the Cedar Square just did a whole thing for the Cancer for Kids, and it's just, I think it's unfounded. If there is a problem, it becomes a nuisance. They still have an avenue to go after.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So, That's my understanding of the law anyway, so. Dan's the lawyer.
Anything else?
That's all I had for tonight.
Okay. Mr. Young?
Just a couple things. We're in the process of putting our events together for this coming year. I'm going to hopefully have a meeting sometime in February with a special events committee we're going to try to put together. And then we'll come back to the township. And I'd like to put together like an advisory board, just like we do with the recreation. So whatever we have to do with that, Dan, you have to let me know, but I want to have an interest meeting first. I have 8 or 10 people right now that are very
You
interested.
and I should probably go over your vision of it, and then I can tell you the best way to go about it.
Our dreams for this year are, our tentative plans are to have 4 movies in the park nights. Also 4 concerts in the park. Then we're having an Easter spring. It's a spring fling, which is March the 29th. That'll be a big Easter egg hunt, characters, probably carriage rides, and hopefully a band. 4th of July, I've been asked to put together something for Memorial Day weekend, and then our Fall Fest in October.
Just a thought on the Easter egg hunt. A lot of the churches in our communities do these Easter egg hunts. Do we really want to be in competition with them?
We're going to do it like 2 o'clock. Most of the churches are doing it on Saturday, we're going to do it immediately following. We're going to do it at 2 o'clock. And it's, we're a week before Easter, not Easter week.
I think that's what the churches do too.
I don't know. You know, so.
Well, I think that's something that you could bring to your, celebration and
We had figured 2 o'clock for church services and everything else to make it afterwards.
So you're saying Sunday?
We're doing it on Saturdays.
Right.
Yeah, churches, the
We're
ones
doing
that
it on Sunday after church. So that's why we picked that the week before.
Okay.
All right. The committee, baseball, we really haven't done anything down there recently. The weather's definitely put us behind schedule where I want to be.
The long-range forecast says the milder weather, though.
I know.
They said there's going to be a warming trend after, I think, next Friday. And the long-range forecast through the rest of the month is above normal.
Yeah. One of the things we found down there, which we'll go over at other times once we get the designs squared away, is there was very little work done towards drainage down there when the initial plans were done. So we're finding we're probably going to have to do a bit of pipe work to get water channel off the fields. And Ed and I talked about it many, many times. He's had a conversation with Public Works, so have I, that if we get it a week window where we really have some good weather coming, to try to staff that with as many people as we can to get as much done as we can at one time. So that's our hopes. And Paul's not here, so I can't find out what the status is on the ballots for the lights. But I'm hoping he said he was going to order those immediately so that we can get the ballast in, and then we can get into a finish upgrade.
I know the designs were approved. A week or so ago, the designs were approved, but as far as ordering, I'm not sure what that status
That's
is.
something we need to get as soon as we can, more, because I want to get the holes drilled so we can do the grading, the backfill, and then all we have to do is the poles actually set on top of the ballast.
I know the plans had to get approved first. That was, and they were approved in the time frame that they needed. So we should still be on, as far as I know, we should still be on the time frame that we were originally looking at.
Other than that, everything else has been pretty good. Rec board, we have our first meeting coming up. That's been very interesting, the last couple of meetings. What we're doing now with the rec board is we're making it mandatory that all programs must have somebody at the meetings. We're getting a lot of people where, not just to throw a sport out, girls softball will come in 30 days before softball season starts, but then we don't see them the rest of the year. So we can't make long-term plans and organize our program without understanding what's going on. So we're going to bring it back more like it used to be. With each organization, we're having a vote on the inmates are coming in so that they can express their concerns. And I think we'll stop a lot of the shuffling around if we can get these things booked 6 months to a year in advance for tournaments and title games and all that kind of stuff. The earmark goes. So we'll see where that goes. Other than that,
Okay.
Mr. Barr, not much to report on. I had the opportunity to meet with management at the road department and we went over some plans that we have for 2015. Part of the plans, as Hobie touched on, is trying to steer some of our manpower towards, looking at Amanda's Field and trying to put a deadline on getting some of these items done, especially the lighting, addressing some of the drainage issues out there. Other than that, went over some equipment issues that they had, and personnel. We talked about personnel and utilization of personnel, and everything looks like it's working out fine, and looks like we're going to have a strong 2015.
Okay. Mr. Pearson?
Mr. Mayor, how are you tonight?
Very good.
Just a few things to report. We have the Upper Township Free Rabies Clinic coming up on Saturday, January the 17th and 28th at 1 p.m. and to 3 p.m., rain or shine, and that'll be held at the Shore Veterinarian Animal Hospital, 73 Hope Corson Road in Seaville, and dog licenses will be available for purchase at that time. If anybody wants to talk to them, call 609-6, or talk to anybody for more information. 609-628-2011, extension 200. Just a couple other things. Since I'm new in the job, I've been reviewing the township policies and try to get some of those things into my head correctly. Tomorrow, I'm going to meet with Jay and some of the representatives of the Division of EMS and start to talk things with them. One thing similar to what John indicated, I had a few people approach me regarding a couple safety issues. And the one is on the Route 9 from where the Roosevelt Boulevard extension is, all the way down to the bridge. The current speed limit there is 45, and they're suggesting it should be lowered to 40 if we could approach the state on that. There's a lot of people now, since the traffic levels are lower, there's a lot of people that walk out there, there's a lot of people that take their kids out there and jog, etc., and they were looking to try to lower the speed limit there.
Now, would that request have to come from the county, because that's a county road?
I think it's a county road. I'd have to look into it. Paul actually knows about those requests more than I do, but we can find out.
Right.
You may also want to talk to the businesses that are located on that road as to what they think, because they have more experience than anybody else.
Yeah. The only thing there that I know of is that church, the two churches on Route 9.
Okay, you're talking about Route 9?
Route 9.
Well,
that's my first.
I'm sorry. I thought
you were saying
state. No.
I thought you were saying Roosevelt.
From Roosevelt.
Route 9 is
from Roosevelt Boulevard on Route 9 to the bridge. Yeah. So.
I apologize.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
so
state.
You're talking about essentially the cul-de-sac from Roosevelt Boulevard down to the bridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Jokingly.
And it used to be 50, and then now it's lowered to 45.
Right.
And they'd like to take it another 5 miles lower. That's all.
It's up to the committee, but that is a state road, and
So
there's a significant and very thorough protocol to start that process.
Okay.
There's probably going to have to be studies done.
Okay. A similar thing on that was now from the extension on Old Tuckahoe Road, which goes by the firehouse and the schools, down to Route 9. And that's 35 right now. I'm sorry, 40 right now. They'd like to have it lowered to 35 because it seems to be a hazard sometimes with people racing. And it's not only some of the people racing in cars, but also the buses. So I'm going to talk to my friend who's in the bus business out there at the school and alert him on that. But they're concerned about the buses even speeding faster than the speed limit.
When you say racing, are they racing at the posted speed limit or above it?
Above the speed limit.
Yeah, there's some studies, and you're going to have to. That's a county road.
And that's a county road.
But if it's speeding, that's a different category than lowering the speed limit.
Mm-hmm.
Lowering the speed limit is if the current 40 mile an hour is too much.
Too much. Yeah.
That's
okay.
So I'm not sure, is it that the 40 mile an hour is too much, or there's a problem with speeding?
I think it's a combination of both.
Okay, well, like I said, two different issues.
Yeah.
Both are counties. It's up to the township whether you want to notify the county and ask them to review it.
In the past also, we've reached out to Lieutenant Pearson.
Yeah.
And they have the capability of
Keeping an eye on it.
tracking the traffic out there. They have that data recorder they can put out there.
Okay. So that's that issue. One safety issue for the public is that it's going to rain through probably 1 o'clock tonight. The temperatures are going to really drop down, and it's going to be very icy out there. I'm pretty sure on the roads around the area as well as streets. So I would caution the public on walking and driving tomorrow morning when they get up. So it will be very icy out there. That's all I have, sir.
Okay. I have one thing, and this may make you happy, Mr. Kingston, sort of. And that is that there was a meeting last week with the DEP. And the DEP is willing to sign off saying that it appears that there is not going to be a nesting habitat. So that they're willing to talk to the Army Corps about taking that into consideration for when they mobilize and move forward. Now, there's no guarantees that anything's going to be changed, but it is, I think, I'm somewhat enthusiastic that it's even being considered. It's something that hadn't been considered in the past. There's a meeting that's scheduled at the Tuckahoe Fire Hall, and I'm not drawing it. It's either, I think it's a week from Thursday. I'll make sure that you're aware of when that meeting is, with the Army Corps and the DEP and a number of the people, the several representatives from Ocean City and Sea Isle and Upper will be there as well. So, to make a long story short, after this meeting, the DEP decided that, yeah, there's no nesting habitat, obviously, on their land, on the north end in the inlet, and the likelihood of having piping plovers nest there, even on the eastern side where the township owns along the ocean, it's probably very minimal. So that's going to be taken into consideration. So it could be good news. I can't say it's absolutely going to happen. I don't even want to put a percentage on it, but it's better than where we were about 3 weeks ago. So, and that's all I have to report.
I got one question.
Sure.
Dan, question for you?
Yes, sorry.
As being on the committee, is there a problem if we decide to volunteer my services to do repairs or? And I'll tell you what it's about. I was down looking at Jay's Rescue Squad building, and that place is really starting to get major rust and disrepair. We have to do something with it.
It depends upon the nature and scope of it. A small volunteer helping out, doing things is probably not. But a large undertaking, you know, just like any other contractor, you could have conflicts. What if the job isn't done well? What if there's a problem on the site? You know, all that kind of stuff. Then you're wearing too many hats. There's potential conflict.
Really needs to get some rust inhibitor on that building. And I had suggested to Jay that I'd be more than happy if the township buys the paint, whether it gets good. I'll teach them how to mask out the building, and I would go down there and spray it myself.
Do they usually do repairs, or is it Public Works that would do the repairs?
No, the repairs are basically just rust. Right, Jay? The repairs are basically just where the rust is starting to get pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, the division of the EMS actually do repairs on the building. That's what or is that usually something Public Works does?
Public Works would have to do the main.
Now, we have had precedent in the past where a township committee person happens to be their field of expertise, has gone into Public Works and said, here, you get the materials, I'll direct you and tell you how to do it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure if there was an issue with me.
If it's a small item, yes.
To spray the building. I told Jay I'd teach him how to put the masking on. You know, but if we don't, that way we can get a better quality paint on that building and get maybe a DTM, which is a direct-to-metal paint on it, that'll hold up a lot longer.
Right, but it's probably more of a Public Works, sounds like what you're talking about, than Division of EMS, and you just have to coordinate with them with the manpower and the supplies.
Okay. We have to get the paint.
And obviously you go through it. We had the same issue
if we don't do something before long, we're going to be replacing that building.
Yeah, it needs to be addressed.
Just a clarification, or jump back to what Jeff his two issues. I'm not sure what direction the committee is going to take on those. Do you want me to review them with Paul and report back to the committee as the appropriate action? Well, I just want to make sure whether or not we're taking any action.
I think that would be appropriate, yes.
Okay.
Paul's always dealt with it right there. Yeah.
Usually Paul's our point man on roads and speed limits and whatnot. He usually starts the discussion with various authorities.
Okay, so with that, let's move on to the resolutions.
Item number 2, under resolutions, declaring certain township property and equipment as surplus and authorizing its disposal by sale on an online auction website.
Move the resolution.
Excuse me, if I may, John, real quick.
Sure.
I've had a discussion, as I said, there was some discussions with management. There are some items on here that they wish to review, and there are some items that may possibly be added to this list. And I request that we table this until our next meeting, if at all possible.
So you're saying that exhibit that has 1 through 15, that has a number of items on it and suggested minimum bids, some of it could come off and there could be additions to it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And this was just brought to my attention this week.
So I guess what I'm saying, just to clarify, the 1 through 15, something potentially could come off the list.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, we could have voted for it, just added more, okay. So, Mr. Coggins, are you willing to amend your motion to table it for the time being?
Yes.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
All right, if there's no further discussion, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried to table the resolution. Item number 3, authorizing the chief financial officer to sign additional group agreements with Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey for medical and prescription insurance.
Move the resolution.
Second?
This is something we've worked on quite a number of meetings and discussion. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 4, 2015 temporary budget debt service.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 5, reserve budget transfers.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 6, a resolution to affirm the Township of Upper's civil rights policy with respect to all officials, appointees, employees, prospective employees, volunteers, independent contractors, and members of the public that come into contact with municipal employees, officials, and volunteers.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 7, approving the application of the Upper Township Rescue Squad for highway pulling drops.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Okay, and that's June 20th, July 4th, and August 1st. And I believe there's been contact at more, so everything's worked out with dates.
Yes.
Yes.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 8, amending Resolution 20, 2015 to confirm appointments to various positions required by the Atlantic County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 9, authorizing the execution of a subcontract with the County of Cape May for fiscal year 2015-2016 Municipal Alliance Program.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Okay, and this is something that we have done over in the past. We've coordinated with Ocean City, and we'll certainly continue to do that. So, call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 10, refund EMS ambulance billing overpayment to United Healthcare Insurance Company.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Just for the record, the refund due is $87.58. Let's call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 11, appointing Bruce W. Beaver to the Upper Township Sports and Recreation Advisory Board as a volunteer alternate resident member.
Move the resolution.
Second. Any discussion?
Anybody have any questions on Bruce?
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Under new business, item number 12, Ocean City Crew Boosters request to hold a raffle, number 441 at Tuckahoe Inn yesterday's in Seagull Tavern on Fridays, beginning March 13th, 2015 through May 1st, 2015.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Let's call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 13, Upper Township PTA request to hold raffles number 442 and 443 at the Upper Township Middle School on March 1st, 2015 and April 23rd, 2015.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
There are a number of reports from the municipal departments, clerk's office, tax assessor, both November and December, tax collector, finance office, MUA report, EMS report, animal control, green team meeting minutes from September and October 2014. All of these reports will be available upon request at the clerk's office tomorrow. But in the meantime, I'd like to make a motion to accept these department reports.
Second.
Let's call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
So at this time, we'll open it up if anyone in the public would like to address the Township Committee. Now's the time to do so. Okay, sounds like there's no public comment this evening, so I'll close the public comment portion and entertain a motion to go into executive session. Mr. Coggins.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Contract negotiation for the municipal prosecutor, for Cape Assist, for shared services agreement with Cape May County for the use of equipment, and for the cell tower. Also personnel matters. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality.
Second. You got a second there. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you all for attending this evening. Please have a safe journey home. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Go Oregon.